Welcome to the Still Past. This channel is dedicated to calm and quiet journeys through history. Here, we explore ordinary moments from the past, slowly and peacefully. There is no rush, no noise, only time, gently unfolding. Our first video begins with a quiet day in ancient Rome. Calm history for sleep. The day in ancient Rome begins quietly. Before the streets fill with voices, before the sun rises high above the tiled roofs, the city rests in a soft, half-awake state. The sky is pale, washed with gentle tones of grey and light gold. Shadows stretch long across stone walls and narrow streets, slowly retreating as the morning light grows. The air feels cool and calm. It carries the faint scent of stone, earth, and smoke from fires that burn through the night. Somewhere in the distance, a hearth still glows, its embers crackling softly as the first hours of the day arrive. The streets are mostly empty. Stone roads, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, lie silent beneath the early light. Small pools of water rest in shallow grooves, reflecting the sky above. Wooden shutters remain closed on many homes, their surfaces marked by time and weather. A single figure moves slowly down the street. Sandals touch the stone with a quiet, steady rhythm. There is no rush. The day has only just begun, and Rome does not hurry in the early hours. The sound fades, and the street becomes still again. Above, the buildings stand close together. Their walls catch the first warmth of the sun, turning pale stone into soft shades of amber and cream. Simple balconies overlook the street, empty now, waiting for the life that will come later in the morning. Somewhere nearby, a door opens gently. A Roman household begins to wake. Inside, the air is dim and cool. Light slips through a narrow opening, touching clay jars, wooden tables, and folded fabrics. A small fire is stirred back to life, sending thin lines of smoke upward. The sound is gentle and familiar, part of the rhythm of the morning. Remains calm. Even as more light reaches the streets, Rome does not suddenly awaken. It continues to move slowly, as if guided by habit rather than urgency. The air grows slightly warmer. Not enough to feel heavy, just enough to soften the coolness of night. Stone walls release the cold they held for hours. They give it back to the air, quietly. The city adjusts, without effort. Footsteps appear again. One at a time. Never rushed. Never loud. A figure pauses near a doorway. They adjust a cloak. They look briefly down the street, then continue on their way. Nothing draws attention. Above, the sky settles into a gentle pale blue. Thin clouds drift slowly, almost unnoticed. The sun remains low, casting a soft, even light across the city. Shadows still exist, but they are lighter now. They no longer stretch as far. They rest close to walls, close to columns, close to the edges of things. A window opens slightly. Fresh air enters a quiet room. It moves across simple furniture, across smooth surfaces shaped by daily use. A woven mat lies neatly on the floor. Clay vessels stand in a row, their shapes familiar and practical. Someone moves inside. The sound is soft, barely there. A fire is tended once more. Embers glow, then dim. Glow, then dim again. The rhythm is slow and comforting. Outside, the street remains peaceful. A bird lands on a rooftop. It pauses. Then another joins it. Their movements are small and precise. The city listens. Water splashes gently as a vessel is filled. The sound echoes faintly, then fades. The carrier lifts the jar carefully, adjusts their grip, and walks on. Each step is measured. Each motion feels familiar. Rome knows this routine well. At a nearby corner, a stone fountain stands quietly. Water flows softly within it, steady and calm. The surface catches the light, creating small, shifting reflections. No one stops to watch. The fountain does not ask to be noticed. The morning belongs to simple things. As the sun rises higher above Rome, the city settles into its natural rhythm. The early chill of the morning fades, replaced by gentle warmth that rests on stone walls, columns, and quiet streets. Shadows shorten. Light fills the spaces between buildings. Rome is now awake. Not hurried. Not loud. Just present. Along the narrow streets, shopkeepers begin their day. Wooden shutters open slowly. Hands brush away dust from counters worn smooth by years of use. Jars of olives, grains, and dried fruits are set out with care. Nothing is rushed. There is time. A baker removes fresh loaves from a clay oven. The air carries the soft scent of warm bread, mixing with stone and morning light. Nearby, a potter shapes wet clay on a spinning wheel. His hands move calmly, guided by habit rather than thought. The wheel turns. The form takes shape. The world feels steady. Footsteps pass by. Sandals against stone. Slow. Unhurried. A merchant greets a neighbor with a nod. No words needed. They have seen each other every morning for years. Children follow their parents, holding baskets, listening quietly. Their voices are soft, still carrying traces of sleep. At the edges of the city, water flows into fountains and basins. Clear and cool. People pause there, washing hands, filling vessels, feeling the calm weight of the moment. In courtyards hidden from the streets, households prepare for the day. Simple meals are shared. bread, cheese, fruit. Nothing more is needed. Sunlight spills across mosaic floors, lighting small scenes of color and pattern. Walls reflect warmth, holding the quiet energy of the morning. Some sit, some stand, some simply breathe. Rome does not hurry its people. It never has. Beyond the neighborhoods, the Forum begins to stir. Not with noise, but with presence. Citizens walk beneath tall columns, their steps echoing softly. Stone absorbs sound, keeping everything gentle. A man pauses to read a notice carved into wood. Another leans against a pill. Morning comes quietly inside the Roman home. Before the sun fully rises above the rooftops of the city, its light begins to enter the house in careful, narrow ways. The Roman home is not built to open itself widely to the street. Instead, it turns inward, protecting calm and privacy. Thick walls hold the cool air of the night, and the first warmth of day moves slowly across stone and plaster. In the atrium, the center of the house, the light appears first. It touches the shallow pool of the impluvium, where rainwater rests undisturbed. The surface of the water reflects the ceiling opening above, pale and still. Nothing ripples. Nothing breaks the surface. The house is awake, but only barely. Somewhere behind a closed wooden door, a sleeper shifts. A blanket moves softly. The sound is absorbed by the walls, softened by distance. This is a time when sound feels heavier, slower, as if the house itself is listening. Roman mornings do not begin with urgency. There is no sudden signal to rise. The household follows the rhythm of light and habit, shaped by generations of repetition. Morning unfolds gently, like breath returning after sleep. Beds are simple. Wooden frames, narrow and firm, sometimes supported by rope stretched tight beneath thin mattresses. These mattresses are filled with straw, wool, or scraps of cloth. Pillows are small. Comfort is modest, expected to be sufficient rather than luxurious. Sleep ends gradually. Eyes open slowly. A moment of stillness follows. A person listens to the house, to the quiet, to the familiar absence of noise. Outside, Rome is beginning to stir, but the sounds have not yet reached inside. One by one, members of the household rise. The floor beneath bare feet is cool. Stone holds the memory of night longer than the air. Movement is careful, practiced. No one rushes. The day has many hours ahead. In the smallest rooms, beds are straightened soon after rising. Blankets are folded and set aside. As the morning deepens, activity increases, though it remains subdued. The Roman home is not silent now, but its sounds remain gentle. Footsteps pass through corridors. Fabric brushes against door frames. Ceramic touches stone with a soft click. Each person knows their place in the morning. The master of the house rises with intention. His role will soon take him outside, to business, to social duties, to public life. But for now, he remains within the private world of the domus, grounded by routine. The mistress oversees the household. She does not rush. Her movements are measured, observant. She checks that tasks are underway, that preparations are proceeding as expected. Authority is quiet here, expressed through presence rather than command. Children wake more slowly. They sit on the edge of their beds, feet not yet touching the floor. Sleep lingers. Their world will soon expand beyond the house, to tutors, to lessons, to the noise of streets, but for now, they remain wrapped in morning calm. A child drinks water. Another adjusts clothing, simple tunics folded and laid out the night before. Nothing is chosen in haste. Clothing is practical, familiar, worn until it can no longer be repaired. Breakfast is modest. Bread is the foundation of the Roman morning. It is broken by hand, not cut. Olives may be added. Sometimes cheese. Sometimes fruit, if available. There is no heavy meal, no indulgence. Just enough to begin the day. People eat standing or seated on simple stools. Conversation is minimal. Words are not yet necessary. The day will bring enough speech. The smell of bread fills part of the house, warm and faint. It mixes with the scent of stone, wood, and lingering night air. These are the smells of familiarity, of continuity. The house prepares itself for opening. Doors facing the street will soon be unbarred. The private world will meet the public one. But for now, there is still separation. Still calm. Tasks continue in repetition. Eventually, the calm of the house begins to loosen. The outside world presses closer. Sounds enter through the doorway, voices, carts, footsteps on stone. Rome is fully awake now, and its presence can no longer be kept out. The master prepares to leave. Sandals are adjusted. A cloak is lifted and placed over the shoulders. Nothing is rushed, but the stillness of earlier morning has passed. Children gather their things. They will step into a louder world, one filled with instruction and expectation. But the quiet of the house lingers within them, carried like a memory. The mistress remains. Her day will continue within these walls, shaped by management, observation, and repetition. The house does not empty, it transforms. The door opens. Light floods in briefly, brighter than before. The contrast is strong. Inside and outside meet for a moment. Then someone steps through. The door closes again, and the house settles. Though emptier, it is not silent. Life continues here, steady and unremarkable. This is the Roman morning, not dramatic, not recorded in history books, but repeated countless times across generations. It is in these ordinary hours that Roman life truly exists. The house breathes once more, now fully awake, ready to carry the day forward. By midday, Rome is fully awake. The sun has climbed higher into the sky, and its light now reaches places that were shaded in the morning. Stone streets warm slowly, holding the heat and releasing it back into the air. Shadows shorten. Sounds grow clearer, though not hurried. Walking through the streets at this hour feels steady and continuous. Footsteps echo softly between tall buildings. Sandals meet stone in a familiar rhythm. The city does not rush, but it does not pause either. Life moves forward at an even pace, shaped by habit rather than urgency. Narrow streets wind between Insulian houses. These buildings rise several stories high, their walls close enough to narrow the sky above. Windows are small. Light enters in thin vertical strips. From above, fabric hangs to dry. From below, voices drift upward, blending and fading as people pass. The air carries many quiet layers of sound. A vendor calls out, not loudly, but steadily. A cart rolls by, wooden wheels turning slowly. Somewhere, metal taps gently against stone. Nothing dominates. Everything blends. People move with purpose. Some walk alone, head slightly lowered against the sun. Others walk in pairs, speaking softly. Children weave between adults, already learning the paths and rhythms of the city. Clothing is simple and practical. Tunics fall to the knees or ankles, belted loosely. Colors are muted by dust and wear. Nothing is new for long in Rome. Everything bears signs of use. The streets smell of many things. Warm stone. Dry dust. Bread from nearby ovens. Oil. Faint traces of animals passing earlier in the day. These scents mix without overwhelming the senses. At corners, people pause. A greeting is exchanged. A short word, a nod. Then movement continues. There is familiarity here, even among strangers. Midday is not a moment of rest. It is a time of continuation. Work that began in the morning carries on. The streets hold this quiet persistence, neither loud nor silent, simply. Markets form naturally within the flow of the city. They are not always enclosed spaces. Often, they appear where streets widen or where foot traffic slows. Stalls line the edges, shaded by cloth stretched overhead. Goods are arranged carefully, not to impress, but to be seen. A market at midday feels steady. Vendors stand or sit behind their wares. They speak in measured tones, repeating familiar phrases. Prices are known. Bargaining happens quietly, without display. Food dominates the scene. Baskets of vegetables. Loaves of bread stacked simply. Bowls of olives. Dried fruits. Fish laid out carefully, glistening slightly in the light. Nothing is hidden. What you see is what you buy. Hands move constantly. Coins pass from palm to palm. Goods are weighed. Items are wrapped in cloth or leaves. Each motion has been repeated countless times before. The market smells richer than the streets. Fresh produce, salt, oil, fish. The warmth of the sun deepens these scents, but they remain familiar, expected. People pause longer here. Conversation stretch slightly. A question is asked. An answer follows. Time slows without stopping. Children watch closely. They observe exchanges, learning how the world works through quiet repetition. The market teaches without instruction. Animals appear briefly. A donkey stands patiently, bearing goods. Chickens are held close. They pass through the scene without attention, part of the everyday fabric. No one lingers unnecessarily. Once business is finished, people move on. The market exists to serve the day, not to interrupt it. As midday deepens, the city reaches its fullest expression. The sun stands nearly overhead. Shadows are short and sharp. Heat presses gently but consistently. Movement continues. People cross streets. Vendors adjust their stalls. Carts arrive and depart. Everything flows. Yet within this activity, calm remains. The noise of Rome is not chaotic. It is layered, predictable. The ear learns to rest within it. Someone pauses in the shade of a wall. A moment of stillness. A breath. Then movement resumes. Life in Rome is made of these small pauses. They exist between tasks, between streets, between thoughts. Eventually, the market thins. Some vendors pack away goods. Others remain, waiting without impatience. The day stretches on. The streets do not empty. They simply change. Midday begins to lean toward afternoon. The sun moves slowly. Shadows lengthen almost imperceptibly. The city continues, steady and unremarkable. This is Rome at midday. Not the Rome of monuments and speeches, but the Rome of walking, buying, carrying, waiting. A city held together by ordinary movement. The streets accept each person briefly, then release them back into the flow. And so the day continues. The afternoon begins quietly in Rome. The sun is no longer climbing. It has reached its height and has begun its slow movement across the sky. The light is still strong, but it feels different now. Softer. Less demanding. The streets, which were active earlier in the day, begin to loosen their grip on movement and sound. Footsteps become slower. Conversations become shorter. Some stop entirely. Stone streets hold the warmth of the sun, but fewer people walk across them. Those who do move calmly, without urgency. There is no rush in the afternoon. Whatever needed to be done today has mostly been done already. Shops along the street adjust themselves to the hour. Fabric awnings are lowered to create wider pools of shade. Wooden doors are half closed, not locked, just resting. Inside, the air is cooler, dimmer, quieter. A man walks alone down a narrow street. His sandals make a soft sound against the stone. He carries nothing. His hands are empty. His face is relaxed, without expression. He is not late. He is not early. He is exactly where he needs to be. Nearby, an older woman sits in the shadow of a doorway. She leans against the stone wall, eyes partially closed. She is awake, but resting. The city does not disturb her. It moves around her slowly, carefully. In the distance, a voice can be heard, but it fades quickly. The afternoon does not carry sound very far. Even the birds seem quieter now, as if they, too, are resting. The air feels heavy, but not uncomfortable. It presses gently against the skin. Breathing becomes slower, deeper, more regular. This is a time for the body to ease itself. Shadows stretch longer along the ground. They soften the sharp edges of buildings and corners. Light and shade blend together, creating calm, muted patterns on stone walls. Nothing important happens in the afternoon. And that is exactly why it matters. As the afternoon continues, life moves inward. Homes become the center of the day. Thick stone walls protect the interiors from the heat outside. Inside, light enters softly through doorways and small openings, never harsh, never direct. The floor is cool beneath bare feet. Many people sit or lie close to the ground, letting the stone draw heat away from their bodies. In one home, a woman rests on a low couch. Her eyes are closed. She is not deeply asleep. Her breathing is slow and even. Thoughts drift in and out, without direction. Nearby, a child sleeps quietly. Earlier, there was movement and laughter. Now there is stillness. Afternoon sleep is light, but comforting. The body takes what it needs. A bowl of water sits in the corner of the room. Occasionally, someone dips their fingers into it, then touches their face or neck. Small gestures of relief. No fires are lit. No cooking is done. Meals have already been prepared. The warmth of fire is not welcome at this hour. The house holds silence easily. Sounds are soft and unimportant. Fabric shifts. A breath deepens. A distant noise passes outside and disappears. Time feels less defined here. Minutes stretch gently. There is no reason to measure them. Rest does not always mean sleep. Sometimes it is simply being still. The afternoon allows this without judgment. Later, the light changes again. The sun lowers, and shadows grow wider. Streets feel cooler. The stone begins to release the warmth it has been holding all day. A few people step outside again, but carefully. Movement remains slow. There is no return to the noise of morning. A man stands in the shade near his doorway. He watches the street without focus. He is waiting, but not for anything specific. At a small fountain, someone pauses to touch the water. Just for a moment. The coolness is enough. Animals rest where shadows are deepest. A cat lies stretched along a wall, unmoving, undisturbed by passing feet. The sky shifts gradually. Blue softens. Light thins. The afternoon begins to loosen its hold. Soon, evening will arrive. But for now, there is nothing to do but wait. And in Rome, waiting is peaceful. The afternoon slowly gives way to evening in Rome. There is no clear moment when it happens. No signal. No sound. The change is gradual, almost unnoticeable. The sun lowers little by little, and the light begins to soften even more. What was once bright becomes warm. What was warm becomes gentle. The city responds without effort. Streets feel calmer now. The heat that once rested heavily on stone surfaces begins to lift. Walls release the warmth they have held throughout the day. The air moves more freely. Breathing feels easier. Shadows grow longer and stretch across roads and doorways. Corners darken. Shapes lose their sharpness. Everything looks slightly less defined, as if the city itself is preparing to rest. A few people step outside again after the afternoon stillness. They move slowly, carefully, as if respecting the quiet that has settled over the streets. There is no urgency. No one rushes. A man walks with his hands behind his back. His face is relaxed. He looks ahead, not focused on anything in particular. The street is familiar. He has walked it many times before. Nearby, a woman pauses in the shade of a wall. She adjusts her clothing, then continues on her way. Her movements are simple and unhurried. Voices are low. Conversations are brief. Words are not stretched out. They are used only when needed. The sky changes color very slowly. Blue begins to fade into softer tones. Light thins. The day loosens its hold on the city. Nothing announces the coming of evening. It simply arrives. As evening approaches, movement turns inward once more. People begin to return home, not all at once, but gradually. Doors open and close gently. Footsteps lead away from main streets and into quieter paths. Homes welcome the cooler air. Doorways remain open longer now. Light enters at a lower angle, resting on floors and walls before slipping away. Inside, the atmosphere changes. The day feels finished. What remains is comfort and familiarity. In one home, a family gathers quietly. There is no loud conversation. Each person settles into their place naturally, without instruction. A bowl is placed on a table. Water is poured. Simple food is prepared or brought out. Movements are slow and practiced. Someone sits nearby, watching the light fade from the room. Shadows climb the walls as the sun lowers further. Outside sounds are distant. Inside sounds are softer still. This is not a time for work. It is a time for being present, without effort. The day has asked enough. Evening deepens. The sky continues its quiet transformation. Colors become darker, richer. The last traces of daylight linger briefly, then begin to disappear. Streets grow emptier. Those who remain outside walk slowly, unbothered by the quiet. A lantern flickers to life. Then another. Light is now something that must be created. Inside homes, people settle further. Bodies relax. Voices lower. The city feels held in stillness. Night has not fully arrived, but it is close now. Rome prepares to rest. Night arrives in Rome slowly, without ceremony, and without any clear boundary between what was day and what is now becoming night. There is no sudden change, no moment that can be pointed to and named. Instead, the light simply continues to soften, minute by minute, until it is no longer strong enough to define the shapes it once held so clearly. The final light of the day lingers at the edge of the sky. It rests there quietly, stretched thin across the horizon. Colors fade gently, not all at once, but layer by layer. Warm tones give way to cooler ones. Gold becomes pale yellow. Yellow becomes gray. Gray becomes blue. And blue, slowly, deepens into shadow. The city responds without effort or intention. Rome does not prepare for night in a dramatic way. It simply allows the change to happen. Stone streets, warm throughout the long day, begin to cool. The heat rises gently and disappears into the air. Walls release what they have been holding since morning. The ground feels different beneath the feet now, less warm, more forgiving. People notice the change, but only faintly. Some pause in doorways, standing still for a moment, watching the sky without thinking about it. Others continue walking, already accustomed to this slow transition. For them, night is not something new or surprising. It arrives every day, and it always arrives like this. Voices grow softer as the light fades. Conversations become shorter, then fade entirely. Words feel less necessary now. What needed to be said has already been spoken earlier in the day. Silence becomes easier to hold. One oil lamp flickers to life near a doorway. Its flame is small and uncertain at first, reacting to the movement of air. Then it steadies. Another lamp appears farther down the street. Then another. Light becomes personal now, limited, contained, and close. There is no longer light everywhere. There is only light where someone has chosen to place it. Shadows deepen and settle into corners. They are no LON. As night takes hold, life moves fully indoors. Doors close gently, never slammed, as if even sound should be treated with care. Inside Roman homes, small pools of light appear. Oil lamps and candles create warm circles that barely reach beyond the center of a room. Outside those circles, darkness remains calm and undisturbed. Rooms feel smaller now, but also safer. Shadows soften the edges of walls and furniture. Familiar objects lose their sharp outlines and become shapes again. The outside world feels distant, reduced to faint sounds that pass and disappear. Families gather naturally. There is no formal beginning to the evening. People simply find their places. Someone sits on a low bench. Someone leans against a wall. Someone lies down on the floor where the stone is cool. Food is simple and unremarkable. It is eaten slowly. Movements are practiced, learned through repetition rather than thought. No one rushes. No one lingers unnecessarily. Conversation is minimal. Words are exchanged only when needed. Silence fills the space between people without discomfort. It belongs there. After eating, bodies begin to release the day. Shoulders lower. Muscles soften. Breathing grows deeper and more even. The weight of daylight finally lifts. A child curls into sleep easily, without resistance. An adult watches briefly, then looks away, allowing rest to take over. There is no effort required. Sleep arrives naturally. Lamplight flickers gently against stone walls. Shadows move slightly, then settle again. Time feels less defined. There is no reason to measure it now. Outside, the city continues to quiet. Inside, stillness grows deeper. Night accepts everyone equally. Later still, Rome grows quiet in a way that feels complete. Streets empty. Lamps glow faintly at wide intervals. The sky is fully dark now, vast and calm, stretching above the city without movement. The city breathes slowly. No carts pass. No voices carry. Even the smallest sounds fade quickly into the night air. Doors remain closed. Windows are dark. Homes hold their occupants gently. Animals rest where they are hidden from view. Cats curl into shadows. Dogs lie near doorways. The streets belong to no one now. Rome does not sleep loudly. It rests quietly, evenly, without tension. Nothing moves unless it must. And in this stillness, the long day finally comes to an end.